still have to turn things around majorly down the stretch to have any kind of chance. So they need to win this one, put this last week's game behind them, win this one, and get a strong hit of steam and try to do something down the stretch. And hopefully that a few other people will mess up their chances, and we can kind of squeeze our way into one of those playoff spots.
Yeah, because right now the Saints are 11th seeded right now. If the Saints would have won that game on Sunday, they could have vaulted to, I believe, is either the 8th or the 7th spot in the NFC. Just one win could have helped them that much. Right. Professor, looking at the other NFC teams that are vying for playoff spots, you got the top guys, of course, Dallas at the top of their division, Seattle at the top of theirs, and let's see, Minnesota. And, you still got the New York Giants out there, and you got teams like Washington who are playing good ball, as well as the Detroit Lions, and we do face Detroit later. Do you think, and Philadelphia as well, that's another team that we have to be wary of. How do you feel all this can possibly shake out within the next couple of weeks?
Well, the Saints have to handle business. They get to play Detroit. They get to play Arizona. They got Carolina tomorrow. You got Atlanta. You got Tampa Bay. You got all the people that are competing with you. The thing is, I don't trust the Saints. After what I saw happen on Sunday, I just don't trust them. They don't know how to win. This is just mind-boggling how this team, and I heard Brian from Who That Confession saying the same thing on Tuesday night. Check out Rev and Brian on Tuesday nights right here on Saints News Radio, 7 p.m. Central, 8 p.m. Eastern. And because they don't know how to win, I don't trust them. I cannot trust the Saints, because we've seen this picture before. They fight to get to 500, and then they start stumbling. They find ways. Think what happened last year. 500 and a big game in the Dome against the Tennessee Titans, and they turned around and had a big lead and blew it and lost to the Tennessee Titans. And that's what, Sunday looked to me again. You had up 17-10 with the ball, and unfortunately there goes Michael Thomas' fumble, because you was on the roll and could have really put this game out of reach. And I don't know what it's going to take for this team to learn how to win these games. I'm not afraid of anybody in the NFC. Nobody in the NFC, the way the Saints defense is improving and the offense, on their best days, the Saints can wipe out the entire NFC, including Dallas. Nobody wants to see a perfect Saints team where special teams, defense, and offense is clicking. If I was any team in the NFC, one team I would not want to play is the New Orleans Saints. Unfortunately, if I was in NFC, one team I would want to play, once again, is the New Orleans Saints, because I know that at some point they're going to give me the ball.
Yeah.
They're going to find ways. The Saints have turned the ball over in 7 out of their 9 games. The only game they didn't turn over the ball was San Francisco and the Giants game. So when you have the, unmitigated gall, and that's the word for the day, unmitigated, instead of propensity, to turn the ball over as much as you do, you're killing your team. So Drew, Ingram, Thomas, Sneed, Dressler, Lutz, and Pete, and all of them on the special teams on the special teams on the line, they got to get their act together. This is now week number 11 that we're going into. And you got to get your act together. You got to get your act together, because you cannot, mid-November, almost late in November, continue to have the mind-boggling mistakes that this team makes. So they can do it. They really, really can do it. Their schedule, they're past the hard part of their schedule. That's over with now. Everybody on this schedule from here on out is either at 500, right above 500, or below. Nobody and these remaining, 7 games scares me. But what scares me is the actual Saints themselves. Will they beat themselves? So right now, maybe if they beat Carolina and beat the Rams, I might feel a little that they might be able to do it. But to continue to be playing so bad at home, and which we have to talk about that in a moment about all those Denver fans sitting in there. As I told you guys, the Saints fans are going to get tired of going sitting in that dome. The Saints in that dome are 9-12 regular season, and then they're 10-17 if you include the last 3 preseasons. People are tired of going to a place where your team is constantly losing.
Good point. I mean, Remy, did you hear any of the Saints fans not wanting to be in the dome, or did you guys notice there was an influx of Denver people inside New Orleans?
That's how I looked on TV and how it sounded on TV was that there were a lot of Denver fans. I don't know if that was just how it seemed or what. I wasn't in there to actually see. But the talk around here, no one is. I don't hear anybody talking about selling their season tickets or not being a season ticket holder next year. I haven't heard anything like that. Everybody I know who's a loyal fan who likes to go to the game to be a part of the atmosphere in the dome, they're still wanting to be a part of that atmosphere in the dome. I'm not hearing anything like that. But who's to say that attitude will not kick in? I mean, let's be honest. We didn't have our first season sellout until 2006. And this is after, many, many years of selling out the dome. We sold out the dome. We've been selling out the dome regularly since the late 80s. But you have people who it's part of their Sunday routine to go to the game and be a part of the atmosphere. But who knows if they keep losing at home, maybe they will go back to those days when people would rather wait till game day and go to the dome and buy the tickets, or wait till a couple of days before, right before the deadline, before before the blackout is lifted, which is what we used to get.
You're right.
A couple of days before the blackout is lifted, we'd sell out just in time to lift the blackout.
Or a business will buy some tickets for them to lift it up.
Usually.
Paul and Remy, just to give y'all the report, because I spoke with several people that went to the game. I interviewed them to get a report for our show, and they told me there were thousands of Denver fans at that game. Even Bobby Abel went off. That has been the talk down there that you could hear. And I'm like Remy, because I was watching here. You could hear them loud. And so when I heard all of that, so I talked to some people, and it was like, did you go to the game? They said, Derek, we have never seen this before. It was nothing but orange all over the place. And so that's why I think, going to Remy's point, that what the people decided, they're tired of losing, and so they're selling their tickets on exchange or something, maybe making a profit, and maybe they just didn't go this game. But the conversation of my sources that were sitting there, and I talked to several people, they said, Derek, we've never seen that before, where another team came in there and with orange was all over the Mercedes Superdome. So let's hope that does not continue as a trend. And when Bobby Abel started talking about it, then I deemed my sources to be credible, because he was ranting and raving about it Sunday after the game as well as Monday. So I don't know if the people just, decided to sell their tickets like Remy stated at the last minute. But the next home game against the Rams will give us some type of source to see if this is a trend. Because I think if the Saints bottom out tomorrow, which I pray they don't, then you're going to be in a predicament. The fans are going to just start getting ready for the holidays and stuff and check out, because you just get tired. I know I'm tired of this. I mean, you have not been above 500 since December of 2013. And this is just strange to me how this team find ways to lose games. This is very, very a good team. Saints have all the talent. They have all. I really think next year, if this team can stay healthy, keep Drew, and even if they could sign him for an additional year, this team with the experience they've gone to, next year could be something else. That's hoping they don't get the injury bug. But now they have depth at cornerback with Crawley and all these the experience these guys got, plus the guys coming back. So it's the people don't need to be down because I'm looking at the team as really to me improved in a lot of areas. They're gonna fight you to the end in every game. That's the one thing I'm very proud of the team. There's not been any blowouts, and even the Atlanta game, they gave Atlanta 2 cheap touchdowns. If you take away them 14 points, that game is 32-31. Saints win. So they're not, they're just kicking themselves in the butt, and they've got to fix that. Drew has to, play smart at all times because the pressure is on him. He's got to play smart at all times. You cannot have 2 interceptions, although one was Thomas. Michael Thomas, Mark Ingram have to go extra in the weight room, whatever, and make sure they're securing the ball. Because you cannot, we don't have the team of 9 and 11 that we can recover from self-inflicted wounds. Whatever's going on with Morstad, Lutz, and Dresser and that line on PATs and field goals, they got to work those kinks out now. Hey, we're going to stay afterwards. We know we can't tackle none, but let's stay on the field or go indoors and let's practice on these drills where we're struggling. They fix those 3 areas, they could easily win all 7 of these games. You could turn around and the Saints can be 11-5 easily. Nobody on this schedule from here on out at all is up to the Saints level in offense. And, the Rams have a good front four. Detroit has a somewhat decent defense. But we saw what the Saints did to Seattle and Denver. Nobody can stop this offense. They can't. Once this offense gets on the roll, it's not stoppable. So, that's my thoughts on these remaining 7 games.
Okay. Well, Atlanta seems like they're kind of going into that tailspin that they usually go into around this season. Yeah. Even though they start hot. Go ahead.
Yeah, they're dropping. We just a game and a half behind them. They're imploding. They was 4-1. Now they're 6-4. They've lost 3 out of their last 5. They barely escaped with a win over Green Bay. So they have not looked like no super team. The team that looks the best in the NFC, from my perspective, is those 2 rookies carrying the Dallas Cowboys. Ezekiel, we can't say about Ezekiel Elliott and Dak Prescott, man. They just are playing phenomenal football. Seattle doesn't scare you. Detroit doesn't scare you. So right now you're looking at the Dallas Cowboys as a legitimate threat out the NFC. The NFC has a bunch of average teams, to be honest.
Dallas is actually average. They have a great record, but they're average. And though those 2 rookies are playing excellent football, if you look at Dallas, who Dallas has won against, none of them have a winning record at this time. When they played Philadelphia had a winning record, but I think Philadelphia's true colors are showing now. So, they beat Philly when they were winning, but are they really a powerhouse team? They just got off to a good start as well. But, so Dallas is not really beating a powerhouse team. They're just coming out they're doing what we don't do. Basically, it's finishing games.
Mm-hmm.
Now, that's one thing. That's what I can give them the credit for. They're finishing their games. But as far as like coming out and just kicking butts on a lot of great teams, they haven't done that yet.
They put together a solid game plan, and one solid game plan. The Saints seem like they can't really get it together. Is to understand the importance of the run, and we saw it on Sunday. They abandoned the run too early. When they had the opportunity to have a consistent drive, that's when Drew threw the first interception. If they would have stayed with the run, they were averaging at that time 3.4 yards per carry. I mean, it may not seem a lot, but you do 2 runs, that puts you like 4 yards to go or 3 yards to go. So your odds increase tremendously, but they did not